I'm Andy. I teach mythology and folklore. Welcome to Tantalizing Myths. Today I've got three classroom tales for the price of one, and they're all related to how I approach literature, especially mythology. One of my first literature classes was Shakespeare. To this day, I still deeply love the Bard. In fact, this past semester I was finally able to teach a full play, A Midsummer Night's Dream, if you're asking. My professor, Peter Waring, changed how I read and understand literature and shaped how I teach it. One day in particular comes to mind. We're about halfway through the play Othello, and he comes into class announcing, I was rereading the play last night, and I've changed my mind about Othello. He's a hollow character. He then proceeded to explain and prove what he meant. The character, instead of having human emotional reactions, was going through the motions. He was a caricature of a person, but not truly human. Whenever there was an opportunity to have an emotional reaction, Othello overlooked it, such as Desdemona's arrival. Instead of an emotional reunion with an immediate embrace and kiss, instead we get him speechifying for about 15 lines and then there's a kiss. And then he's back to speechifying. More than that, Othello's dialogue throughout the play is just full of meta-dramatic language, such as, were it my cue to fight, I should have known it without a prompter. Act 1, Scene 2, lines 84 to 85. While a number of Shakespeare's plays contain this kind of language, Othello just keeps at it throughout. As a character, he comes off hollow, like he's an actor playing a role instead of a person. My professor laid all of this out during the class. Normally, our classes were filled with discussion about what we saw, but he felt it important to backtrack on what we discussed last class, retracting everything he had previously said about Othello as a character. He had changed his mind. My two friends and I, who were taking the class together, kept flipping through the play trying to come up with arguments against our professor. But he was convincing, and he ended up changing our minds as well. One of us even said, damn it, he's right. On to classroom tale number 2 for this episode. We fast forward to where I'm still a student, this time taking Shakespeare from another professor. And again, it's about Othello. I've always liked Othello, mostly because of Iago. As villains go, he's up there, about as good as Maleficent. He's a masterful manipulator, making people do all the dirty work for him while he keeps his hands clean. However, at the end of the play, his wife Emilia rats him out as the puppet master. But this is where it gets interesting. Iago kills Emilia and flees, but is later brought back arrested. Othello stabs him, however. I bleed, sir, but not killed. Act 5, Scene 2, line 339. After that, when Othello wants him to confess, Iago clams up. Demand me nothing. What you know, you know. From this time forth, I never will speak word. Lines 355 to 356. True to his word, he doesn't say anything else for the rest of the play. He won't give anyone the satisfaction of explaining why he did it all. The play ends with Iago, under arrest, being led off stage. Now, my professor, who I must stress is different from the previous one, confidently stated that Iago would have faced the death penalty. They would have killed him for what he did. I disagreed. Shakespeare quite clearly had Iago taken off stage alive. This is a deliberate action. Killing a character, and if you've never read one of Shakespeare's many other tragedies, is no big deal for Bill. Othello doesn't even have that high a body count compared to the Scottish play. Actors and other theater people, you're welcome. Moreover, the ending lines of the play are instructions for Cassio to carry out the censure of this hellish villain. The time, the place, the torture, oh, enforce it. Lines 432 to 433. Torture, but not execution. It's certainly not going to be pleasant for Iago, but he is very much alive at the end of the play. My professor wouldn't budge. In his mind, Iago was executed. There was no debate. He had no proof to offer up other than they would have killed him. He refused to even acknowledge the possibility. His interpretation was right, and that was the end of it. Now, number 3, which is my favorite. This time I'm the teacher, and it's a mythology class. We had just discussed the myth of Perseus. Now, sorry, not sorry. I'm not going to get into the full details of what we discussed, as I will explore this in much more detail when we get to Perseus. However, as a class, we pretty much came to a consensus about Perseus. He wasn't as good a hero as made out to be in the Harry Hamlin movie. We don't talk about the remake. There were definite issues about his character that made us feel he was more of an opportunist than anything. That night, I graded the students' short essay responses, which they were required to submit before class began, and I discovered a wonderful argument contradicting what the class consensus was. The student backed it all up, painting Perseus in an entirely different light. I was convinced. The next class, I came in and told the students that I was wrong and that this student was right. Like my old professor, I laid it all out, showing the proof. I even added to that proof from other parts of the story. More than that, I tied it thematically to other Greek myths, such as Hestia and the Odyssey, showing that this was not an isolated idea, but something that recurred in other stories. By the end, the entire class agreed with this student's interpretation of the myth. It was one of my best classes ever. All of this is to say, I will change my mind. Whether it's a new way of looking at a story that I figured out from a reread, or if commenters have a different take, I have no problem changing my mind, but there better be evidence. However, there are some people who can't, like that second professor. They can't see past their own ideas and can get quite agitated by anything different from what they believe. I hope you will share your ideas with me. I hope there is vigorous but respectful debate and comments. I hope people are open to having their minds changed. It can open up whole new worlds of understanding. I hope to see you next time on Tantalizing Myths.